So I'm like indigo vision, indigo being a frequency, and the vision that I see of that frequency or consciousness manifesting, that's what, inspired me to name my company Indigo Vision, and the Kangen machine had a big part of that. All right, welcome back to Indigo Vision. On this channel, I address self-mastery and self-empowerment. All right, so today I felt the need to kind of go into more detail on how I came across Enagic and Kangen Water and why I'm so passionate about this being part of the solution for humanity as a whole. I was at a store in Texas called Sprouts, and I was grabbing some water called Essentia, and it's ionized water and a 9.5 pH. It was the best I could find. So at that point, it was around 2015, and I was in search of the best water. I realized water is the key, right? So I'm like, bet, let me find the best water so that I can start really taking control of my health, right? So I'm in line, I'm buying the water, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even need this right now. I got some more at home. I'm a little low on cash, so I'll just come back, right? Take it back, come back in line. There's a guy behind me, till he had just got off of work. He was a mechanic, and he's like, hey, it's a good thing you put that water back. It isn't what they say it is. Don't tell me a problem without giving me a solution. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you recommend then? And he's like, have you ever heard of Kangen water? And in my head, I'm like, what? What in the world is Kangen water? Like, no, I haven't heard of it. He's like, well, go online, look up Kangen water, Kangen. It's out of Japan, so make sure what you watch is in English. When you watch it, you'll know. You'll know this is your solution. And then, I cash out, I walk away, never see this guy again. But it stuck with me. Most people would have been like, whatever, went on with their day. But for me, my intuition said, check it out, see what you find. Found a demonstration online, about an hour and a half. Well, most people are like, oh my God, 10-minute video, I don't want to watch it. So I'm hour and a half in, I'm like, dude, this is it. So then I'm telling my homies, I'm like, yo, I done found it, man. This is it, right? Basically, I'm at work the next day, and there's a girl that I work with that I really don't normally talk to. And I say, you know what? I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but there's this water I came across, and it's so amazing. And, I give her the whole little rundown of what I took for the demonstration that night. And she's like walking out of the room we were in, and she's like, wow, that's some amazing water. Comes back in about 2 minutes later, like, Kangen water, right? And I'm like, yeah, what about it? And then she's like, there's a woman at my table who has a Kangen water bottle on her table, and she wants to talk to you. And in my head, the night before, I'm like, okay, this company is out of Japan. What are the chances of me finding somebody here in Texas that has one of these machines or has even heard of this? So for me to pick the person who would have a Kangen water distributor at their table that same day, and that's who I'm talking to about the water, that was a clear indication to me that this is no coincidence. I go up to her and I'm, talk to her, and I'm pretty excited because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get to try this water in person, And I get the water, try it, I'm loving it. I go to a demonstration that they put together. Come to find out, in town, there's a whole team, like several teams, and they do demonstrations in town. So I go to a demonstration, I see the water, feel it, I see all the demonstrations, get the background on the company and the technology of this machine, and I'm like, holy crap, this is it, right? I basically, fast forward few weeks, I ordered my machine, but it never came. And then I'm waiting to get more water. It's around Christmas time, the 21st or 22nd, something like that. And the team I'm with, or getting the water from, they're busy, they're going out of town for Christmas. So I get a card from my manager maybe a week or two before from another distributor, and she gives it to me, and I'm like, I don't need it, but I'll keep it anyways. Come to find out, I did need it. I called the number and I told him what was going on, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll meet you. He met me. We talked for about at least an hour. I realized how big of an opportunity this is, and that it's important to be with the right team. And I'm new to all of this, so when he tells me how they're doing it versus what I'm used to, I instantly know, like, this is who I want to team up with, and we get the machine ordered, and that's how I came across the water. Second part is Indigo Vision, and why I named my company Indigo Vision. Indigo Vision, indigo has to do with your third eye. Your third eye is the powerhouse gland. You have 7 main glands, and your 6th gland is very important as far as being able to see through deception and being able to be in tune with your spiritual side. That's where your body and your soul meet. It's right here, right? So I have been very into this type of information, and then when I seen the machine, if you've seen it, which I'm sure if you've been following me, you've seen it, it has colors on the machine, and it goes up like the rainbow. And the water you drink is called Kangen water, which means to restore back to origin. The color of this water is indigo. And I had already been learning about the importance of high frequency and vibration and energy, and how in order to become more conscious, you need to raise your frequency. And when I seen the color coordination of the different types of ways to use different pHs of water, for instance, the lower pHs are for like disinfecting. You have green, which is the color that you would put in your body. That's the clean water, and the Kangen is indigo. So I'm like, wow, indigo. This is the frequency of the indigos. Like, indigos are basically people that are in tune with the indigo frequency. And my vision was to be a part of bringing in a reality that is an indigo reality, because every frequency has its own consciousness and a reality that can be formed in that frequency. So things you eat, what you believe, what you do, how you make money, all can be updated depending upon the frequency that you're in. I had the vision of being able to bring in this frequency into a practical reality, and the base of that would be water. The base of an indigo reality is indigo frequency water. That was my epiphany. So I'm like, indigo vision, indigo being a frequency, and the vision that I see of that frequency or consciousness manifesting in this world. That's what, inspired me to name my company Indigo Vision, and the Kangen machine had a big part of that. All right, now for the third aspect of this video is how Enagic saved my life. Let's say 2017, we're doing demonstrations. I'm trying to build my business, and I'm passionate about what I am a part of. And I'm in Texas at this point. I'm at home and I'm doing yoga. I'm like stretching and putting my legs over my, basically putting my legs up to my shoulders. I'm stretching my back out, and I get this weird feeling in my stomach, and it like threw me off like big time. And it started off mild, and then it got worse and worse, and within a couple of hours I'm in excruciating pain. I go to the emergency room, and I can barely stand up. Like, I'm like hunched over, like really in some pain. I get there, and this is in like the medical center, in San Antonio, which, if you know, that's not the best part to go to the hospital. Ironically, it's called the medical center, but I didn't get seen. I guess I may have told them I thought I had like food poisoning or something because I had it before, and that's the only thing I could compare it to. So I didn't get seen. I leave because I have a trip to go to in Dallas. So I go to this trip with my homies for some crypto stuff, like some Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I'm heading to Dallas, and I'm in excruciating pain. I'm laying down the whole time there, while we were there, and on the way back. Just like out of it. Can barely open my eyes, can't walk, only move when I have to. And the only thing I could keep down was this Kangen water. Literally, I couldn't eat. My whole stomach was shut down. So I'm just drinking this water when I'm awake, and then I'm sleeping the whole time. And mind you, we drove there. It's about a 5-hour trip. We stayed there for like a day and a half, maybe 2 days. Then we drive back, and I'm still like, I'm getting worse. Like I'm hurting. Like, get home, and I lay down, and I think it might have been for like, I don't know, like two or 3 days, and I'm hurting to the point to where like I'm hallucinating at this point. Like I'm rolling in and out of like being asleep and then hallucinating and just waking up, throwing up like, I don't even know, like some black stuff. And this goes on for about 6 days. And I called my mom. I'm like, I think I need to go to the hospital, but I don't want to go tonight. Come get me tomorrow night. And she's like, Justin, you sound like you're about to die. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm in pretty bad shape. I know it's going to be a big deal when I get there, so I'm going to mentally prepare myself for this. So I hate going to the hospital, hate going to the doctor, emergency room, all of that stuff. I can't stand being in those buildings. So it took everything in me to go. And even though I was hurting that bad, I still didn't want to go. But I knew I had to at this point because it wasn't getting any better. So I get there. Well, the nurse is like, they run some tests, and they come back to me like, we don't even know how you're even conscious right now. Like, you should be in a coma right now. Your appendix has been burst for 7 days. And most people die after 2 days. And at this point, you know, my mom, she's already having like heart failure. So she could barely walk. I couldn't walk at this point. So she has me in her wheelchair, pushing me into the hospital. We went to one, again, in the medical center. And my mom, she's been dealing with health issues for a while. So she's very acclimated to hospitals and how they're supposed to work. So when I get there, and they're basically giving us the runaround, and she's like, you know what, we're leaving. And she took me to the northeast side of San Antonio where she lived at. Went to the hospital there, Northeast Baptist. Get there, and yeah, they're like, we don't know how you're conscious. Like, you have to go into surgery like ASAP, like right now. I go into surgery. I was in a coma for 3 days. When I get up, I didn't realize it had been 3 days. I'm thinking it's like the day after, the next day. Mind you, when I wake up, I have a tube in my arm, like straight into my arm, like a quick port for them to be able to put whatever they need to real quick into my system. I have a tube down my throat, can't talk. You see these? This one, this hole right here, and this hole right here. These are holes from tubes that were on my each side, and they were pumping out this white infection. And this infection, like pus and infection, would not subside. It was like for weeks. It was just coming out of my body, and they were pumping it out. And the first day that I took the turmeric, the first full day, this side cleared up first, and there was no pus coming out of it for the first time since I had my surgery. And then this one cleared up second. So my body was literally in really bad shape. The tubes of my nose, I have a cut down the whole front of my stomach, from like my sternum down to the bottom of my abdomen. Cut, bandage, and in excruciating pain. So find out I had been unconscious for 3 days, and the doctor comes in. He's like, "Hey, wow, you actually made it. Like, we were surprised. We weren't expecting you to make it through this surgery because of how severe this case is. But you're here, so that's great news. Bad news is that you're deficient on so many different things, and the worst part is your white blood cells are outnumbering your red blood cells, and we can't do anything about that." But I'm so out of it that I'm not even like registering what he's saying. I'm just like nodding my head. I can't talk, so I'm just like, okay, cool. And I'm barely conscious. I'm sleeping like 10 hours a day or more. And this goes on for, I would say, like a month and a half. And I wasn't getting any better. Every morning they would come in and they would take my blood, and I'm in the worst pain of my life. Finally get to sleep and someone comes in and wakes you up with a needle this big and they're just sticking you in the same arm. And I'm just like, dude, this is horrible. I'm going through this every day. And then he would come in and he's like, "Oh, nothing's changed. You need this, and you need this pill, you need that pill, you need that pill, you need this pill." And I'm taking them, and it's just maintaining me, but I'm not getting any better. Then a friend of mine, Kenny, he had bought some of the Ukon from me. He's the first person to buy some of the turmeric. The turmeric is called Ukon in Japan. It grows there naturally. It's indigenous to Okinawa, Japan. It's the best in the world. It incorporates both the autumn and spring turmeric, which here in the West, we only get the autumn, the root, which has the curcumin in it, but the curcumin needs the spring Ukon to be 95% bioavailable for your body. So this being said, I called Kenny and I'm like, "Hey, do you still have any Ukon left?" And he's like, "I got 1 box." So I'm like, "Yo, I need that." So he brings it. I take 10 at night that first night. I wake up and I feel more conscious. I feel more in my body. I feel more present. I feel more alive. And I hadn't felt that way in, at least a month and a half, at least, maybe 2 months. The doctor comes in after my blood being taken. It was funny because he hadn't looked at the clipboard before he walked in. So I seen his initial response or reaction to what he was reading. And he opens it up and he's like, "Whoa, you've made major leaps in your health, like major. I'll keep you posted." And in my head, I'm like, yes, yes, it's working. So I take 10 more. And then that night, I take 10 more. Wake up the next day, same process, take my blood, comes in with the results a few hours later. And he's like, "Okay, you made it from 1 to 3, now you're at 3 to 5. And as far as 10 being like you're healthy. So, okay, like you made an equal jump like yesterday." Okay. Then next day, did the same thing. He comes in. He's like, "Wow, 5 to 7. And then, that's 3 days in a row, I'm making huge leaps in my health. And they didn't know how, didn't ask me how. I didn't tell them what I was doing. So 4th day comes in, he's like, "Okay, like you're basically healthy now. Like you don't look it, but if this is the same tomorrow or better, we're going to get you out of here." Meanwhile, they had been telling me that I could be in there for several months or not even get out, not make it. Like I could literally die. And for them to go from, you're barely going to be able to make it to we're letting you out within 5 days, it was amazing because I had 2.5 liters of infection in my abdomen and it took them 3 days to flush it out. I had to go through rehab, learn how to walk again, literally. Like I couldn't walk for more than like 10 steps without feeling like I'm gonna fall out. I remember one specific incident where I made my first walk around the floor. People were looking at me so surprised, like, oh, that's the guy we heard about that, had this crazy experience. And they all knew who I was because it was a pretty extreme situation, and they were wondering if I was going to make it or not. So people knew who I was, and when they saw me walking by myself with no walker, no assistance, because I was determined to heal and to get back healthy again. So walking was very important to me, and I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. And I would take laps around the floor, and people were just looking at me like, holy crap, like he's walking, So it was death, rebirth kind of thing for me. And I had to relearn how to walk. It was very life-changing. So to have this box of all natural, all organic, just pure nature. No pharmaceuticals could do it. They couldn't do it. I'm in a multi-million-dollar facility, one of the best in Texas, and I'm dying in the hospital bed. They're giving me crappy food, soda, Jello, white bread, burgers, and I'm just taking protein shakes. With that, I wasn't getting any better, and I couldn't leave. I felt like I was in jail. It was a different version of jail. Like I couldn't leave until they cleared me to be out. Nothing that they were giving me was healing me. I was just there with no hope of getting out until I got the Ukon from Kenny, and the Ukon rebuilt my body. The Kangen water kept me alive for those 6-7 days of me being at home. And then after my surgery, the turmeric was what helped my body rebuild itself, and it fixed my blood, literally. And turmeric is known to be a blood purifier, but this stuff really did something that no doctor could do. It gave my body what it needed to heal itself. And I'm gonna finish this video with my message of why I'm so passionate about Enagic and their water ionizers and their turmeric or their Ukon, because it's a permanent solution, and it empowers the people. It empowers you. It empowers me. We don't need a middleman. We don't need pharmaceuticals. We don't need radiation. We don't need to get cut open. We need to give our body what it needs for it to heal itself. I watched it happen. I've seen it with my own eyes. I watched myself on my deathbed be resurrected because I put the right things in my body for my body to heal itself. And it's not only about health, you also can free yourself financially by helping empower families and individuals with the necessary tools to prevent degenerative diseases. And I mean, my situation wasn't a degenerative situation, but it gave my body what it needed to heal itself in that circumstance. So I'm a living testimony of the power of Enagic, the power of ionized water, giving your body the alkalinity, the hydration, and the voltage for your body to heal itself, make healthy cells again. And this is revolutionary, and it's going to empower the people. That is the paradigm we're moving into, is self-empowerment. You healing. They call doctors doctors. They don't call them healers for a reason. They're not in the business to heal you. They can't even use that word. They're practicing medicine. Medicine. Sin to the meadow. The meadow is the body. They're experimenting on our bodies, and we are the test dummies. We're the ones that lose. Radiation, surgery, and pharmaceuticals, 1, 2, 3 struck out. 95% of people die 5 years after radiation. If their cancer goes away, then it comes back even 10 times stronger and knocks you out. You know what I mean? Our body isn't made of radiation. Our body isn't made of pharmaceutical chemicals. Our body is made up of nature. Our body is a piece of nature. That's why when you die, you go back into the ground. and you decompose. You go back to the source. So we have to incorporate nature in order to raise the quality of life that we have and to protect the ones that we love. So, that's my testimony for Enagic, and it's really something I've been kind of hesitant to speak on because of how personal it is, and I'm a very private person, so I really don't look for sympathy or any type of attention for this. It's really just because I know that this story will help people realize how powerful this opportunity really is. And I'm here to help. I want to spread the message of true healing and, raising the quality of life so people can feel better each day. It's a life that is fulfilled is a life full of days of you feeling great and doing great things. If you feel great, you do great. Most people can't get started with their dreams because they feel like crap. They're fatigued, tired, overly acidic, slowly dying, having a very slow death. And we can reverse that. We can slow that down, and make you feel better. Give your brain the water it needs to function better, for you to think, create, and that's going to empower the people. And that's what's important to me. So again, be the solution in the world that you want to see. And what I want to see is a healthy world. And I want to help heal the planet one person at a time. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you checked out the whole video. I know it was kind of long, but again, I really wanted to speak from the heart and express why Enagic. So until next time, peace.